Today I'm having some Guangdong cai. Cai means food, basically, or dishes. Um, Guangdong is a region of China, so it's one of the provinces. China is split into provinces called sheng. So, like where I live is called Heilongjiang, which is in the northeast. Um, Guangdong is in the southeast. It's actually the province right next to Hong Kong. And actually, all of those words kind of all come from the same thing. So in English, historically, Guangdong was called Canton. So um, the pronunciation is a little bit different, but so basically, Cantonese, the language, and Cantonese food, all of that means in Chinese Guangdong, the province Guangdong. So this is basically like Hong Kong style food or food from that region. The culture, especially the food culture in Hong Kong and the places around it, the Chinese style food is all very similar. Hong Kong does have some like other like Western influences in its food as well from being part of the British Empire for so long, and just being a big major trading port. But the as far as the Chinese dishes go, like it's all very similar. Like the Guangdong, and you can call Hong Kong food, you can call it Guangdong Cai. It's basically the same thing. So this restaurant that I ordered from is a Guangdong Cai restaurant. I got a couple. So I got what's called a shuangpin. Shuangpin means, or actually, it's shuangpin fan. So fan means rice. So if you get something and then it says fan at the end, that just means something on rice. So let's see. If you look at, oh, this is heavy. This thing, there's a bunch of stuff and it's all on rice. You can kind of see where the rice is here. Like it's a bed of rice with stuff on it. So that's where the fan comes from. The shuangpin means two things. So pin just is a word that just means something, or item. And shuang means two, sort of like a pair. It doesn't, so you wouldn't use it when you're counting two, but you would use it similar to the way a pair is used in English, to say like a pair of something. So shuangpin means a pair of things on rice. Shuangpin fan. That's a good way when you're ordering like takeout dishes and things to get a bit of variety. So that way you can get multiple things. So this is two types of meat. There's pork and duck. So the pork is called char. In Cantonese, and which is where the English word, where we English oftentimes will have the Cantonese word has been adopted into English. So in English, this is often called char siu, which is I think based on the Cantonese. I don't know how to speak Cantonese, so I probably am mispronouncing it as Cantonese. But in English, it's often called char siu. In Mandarin Chinese, in Putonghua, the standard language of China, it's called cha shao. And that just means that it's a type of barbecue sauce, basically. It's this red. So basically, it's meat that's been roasted in this bright red sauce. That's kind of a sweet and savory sauce. It can range from extremely sweet. Sometimes when you get this, it's just like all sugar, and sometimes it'll be more on the savory side. Similar to American style barbecue sauces, that you might get one that's had a ton of like molasses put in it and it's just like sweet. And you might get another one that's just a little bit of sugar with like more tomatoey flavor or something. So that's called char roll. The second thing is called kao ya. Kao means to bake or to broil, or also to grill. So, or roast. And ya means duck. So kao ya is roast duck. The most famous kao ya probably is Beijing kao ya, which is similar to this. So this is Hong Kong style or Cantonese style kao ya. They're quite similar, but there are slight differences. Like, if you really know what you're talking about, you can eat the two of them and like easily tell which one is which. I'm not so well versed in like the differences, so for me, probably if I ate them side by side, I could tell the difference. I might not know which is which. I would probably just be able to tell, oh, this is different than, these are not the same. But I think if you were well versed in kao ya and roast duck, you could probably identify one or the other. But generally, in my mind, they're basically the same thing. They're very similar. The way they roast it is it's served differently oftentimes. So Beijing kao ya is often served with small little wrappers, and you roll up, make little rolls with some sauce. Hong Kong style kao ya is often served more like this, where you get larger chunks of the meat. Sometimes it'll be served that same way with the wraps, but sometimes it's also done like just larger chunks with rice or with something else. So that's called roast duck. One of the characteristics of Chinese style roast duck is the crispy skin. So because this is takeout, the skin has gotten a little less crispy. It's kind of softened up because it's been sitting for too long. But if you get it fresh, it's very crispy. I think one of the ways they do that is they actually blow air under the skin to separate the skin out from the meat when they're cooking it. So the skin gets really crispy and crisps up. So that's my shuang pian fan. So it's basically roast pork or barbecue pork and roast duck on rice. And then oftentimes with Cantonese, this is something they don't really do with northern cooking. This is something Cantonese things will do. They'll put a piece of this, I think it's bok choy or something, or a couple pieces of this with the rice, like as a little veggie side. In the north, it's more common to have some kind of a pickled veggie. If you get something similar to this, where it's some meat on rice, it's more common to have like a small pickled vegetable, or like chopped up veggie pickles or something. So that's kind of a more northern thing, whereas in the south, they tend to do just this piece of bok choy or some other little leafy green thing. The other thing I got is some broccoli. So this is basically garlic steamed broccoli. So it's just broccoli that's been, I think, steamed. It may be stir-fried. I'm not 100% certain. With some chopped up garlic and a bit of carrot. And it's got quite a strong garlic flavor. This dish, the restaurant had an option. You could get it without the garlic or with the garlic. So if you just want the plain broccoli, you can get that. If you want the stronger garlic flavor one, which is what I was looking for. I've been kind of looking for this dish for a while. This is actually the reason I ordered this meal. The meat and stuff. I like meat, but like I don't have a huge preference for Southern style meats. They tend to be a little too sweet for me. I like this is a little sweet for my taste. It's still good. I like it occasionally, but it's not something I want to eat all the time. But this broccoli is really good. It's super garlicky, and well, I like broccoli a lot. So I like broccoli and I like garlic, so this is pretty much perfect for me. I tried to order this dish from a place a while ago, but they just sent me steamed broccoli with it didn't have the garlic in it. So I was a little disappointed with that. So I've been kind of craving this garlic broccoli. So that's my. Oh, I meant to say, oftentimes this kao ya is served with a type of sauce called suan mei jiang. Mei is a word for a type of plum, and suan mei is like sour plum, or sometimes it can be translated as apricot or sour plum. Like there's several different ways to translate it, but it's traditionally in southern China. Sometimes that word will be used for foreign items or foreign fruits or something. Sometimes when you're translating fruits and vegetables, like things get crossed over and several different things end up being called the same word, and like then one thing might have four words for the same thing. So things get a little confused sometimes. But typically in the south of China, there's something called suan mei, which is a type of sour plum. As far as I understand it, it might be a different type of fruit that I've always thought of it as a plum. It might be some other variation similar, but it's similar to a plum. And jiang means sauce. And so this is a very runny version of it. Oftentimes it's a little thicker than this. This is like a very runny yellow version. It can often be a bit thicker and oranger. And so actually suan mei jiang is the origin of the American Chinese sauce called duck sauce. In China, that sauce so if you go to a Chinese restaurant in America, or I think pretty much everywhere around the world other than China, they will have packets of this little thing called duck sauce. That's just an orange kind of sweet and sour sauce. And often it's eaten with egg rolls and things like that. That's one of those, and egg rolls so egg rolls and that sauce are one of those things that you always thought are Chinese, and then you come to China and realize they don't exist in China. So egg rolls were invented in America, and the duck sauce that goes with egg rolls was also invented in America. However, that duck sauce is based on, so both of them are based on things from China, but they're variations on it. That duck sauce is a variation using apricot instead of the sour plums of this sauce. That this sauce is meant to go with kao ya, roast duck. So it can be called duck sauce. Sometimes it's called suan mei jiang, so sour plum sauce. And sometimes it's called duck sauce because it goes with the duck. And so when they came to America and they were making the sauce with apricots, it was similar to the duck sauce they had back home. And so they created the sauce that they called duck sauce. So if you've ever wondered why the fruit flavor sauce that you use with egg rolls is called duck sauce, it's because it's based on a sauce that's used with roast duck. So that's a little tidbit of like how American Chinese food has evolved as its whole own thing. There's all kinds of stuff that's in American Chinese food that doesn't exist in China or is very loosely based on something from China. That duck sauce. You can kind of find something similar, but it's quite different. If you're expecting the American style thing, they won't have that here. They will have this suanmeijiang, but it's often quite different. And it can vary quite a lot by region of the country and where they're making it. The other thing, egg rolls. I guess I could talk about egg rolls as well. They are based on a dish you can get here. It looks the same from the outside. It's that fried dough wrapper. However, here when you get it on the inside, it's just full of red bean paste. It's a dessert food, a sweet food. So if you've had like red beans are like a typical Asian kind of sweet dessert type thing, and you can have just the beans themselves as a dessert, or you can mash them up into a paste. And so there are these fried rolls that look just like egg rolls in America, but on the inside they have this red bean paste. And so the makings of an egg roll are there, but then the ingredients they put in it, the like cabbage and pork and carrot and whatever else is in there, in an egg roll. Sometimes it's got like shrimp or something. Whatever they put in an egg roll filling in America, that's an American addition to that. So the wrapper is a Chinese thing, but when it came to America, they created more of an appetizer, savory food as opposed to a dessert like sweet food, from the same kind of idea of a thing. So that became an egg roll. And then the sauce for dipping your roast duck in became the sauce to go with the egg rolls, and it got called duck sauce because it was originally meant for going with roast duck. So that's a little lesson on how culture can kind of shift as it travels around the world, and you end up with, because if you ask a Chinese person, do you know what an egg roll is? They'll get really confused, and you try to like translate it, and then they have one idea. Often they'll think it means an omelet, because if you just translate the words, egg is dan and roll is juar or juan, and if you can call an omelet. There are several ways to call an omelet, but one way to call an omelet is danjuar, so egg roll. And so Chinese people here will be like, yeah, of course I know what an egg roll is. And then you show them a picture and you're like, you mean this? And it's an omelet. And they're like, yeah. And then you show them a picture of an egg roll and they're just like, oh, I've never seen that before. No idea what that is. So that's kind of a funny little thing where that's completely same with, I think the more common thing people know about is fortune cookies. Fortune cookies are also from America. So there's a bunch of kind of Chinese food that originated in America, which is kind of weird type of culture shock you get when you first arrive here and realize a bunch of things you thought were Chinese are actually from America. So that's a little odd thing and that's another thing. When I go back to America, one of the foods that I crave the most is American Chinese. Even though I live in China, as soon as I get back, I'm like, I gotta go to the Chinese restaurant because I want some egg rolls and I want some fried wontons and like I want a fortune cookie and I want all these American foods that are American Chinese foods. So, well, I'm gonna get to eating this, and thanks for watching.